Hey everyone, this is Steven. Here's my review for the Spice of Dyslife. Just like last time, I'm going to start with a story recap for those who haven't read it, and then I'm going to give my thoughts and comments. So here we go. The story begins with Drew Cosgrove. As a kid, Drew always felt different. He didn't feel like playing sports with the boys in the neighborhood. He would much rather play with the girls. This made Drew different and thus very shy. Drew always felt different and alone, and it sure didn't help that his siblings were much older than him and didn't live at home. Drew's parents noticed early on how different their son was, and they knew that he was probably gay. But they didn't encourage him either way. They simply accepted that their son was different, and that was that. As Drew grew older, some of his female friends came to the same conclusion, that he was probably gay, and under peer pressure they distanced themselves from him. This left Drew more alone than ever as he made his way into high school. Struggling in school, a counselor soon noticed him. This counselor himself was a closeted homosexual, and he took notice of Drew and encouraged him to join the after-school theater program. Drew did, and the decision would forever change his life. It was here that Drew discovered his love for theater and his talent for it. It was here that he gained confidence and friends that shared his interests, and it was here that he discovered who he was and realized that he was gay. More confident and self-assured than ever before, Drew's old friends came back, and the guys who used to bully and mess with him now respected him. Drew went on to college and majored in drama. He honed his skills, and upon graduation, he moved out to Hollywood. Drew's parents agreed to support him for the first 2 years, but Drew quickly got a job with flexible hours, enabling him to make appointments and go on auditions. Drew soon hired an agent, Jules Cotton, and together they agreed to change Drew's name. Goodbye, Drew Cosgrove, and hello, Drew Spencer. Drew's career was slowly progressing with parts in commercials and local theater. As was his personal life, Drew started seeing a man, Wesley, and the two soon moved in together. Things were going great for Drew, and things only got better when 6 months later, his agent got him an audition for a new adaptation for the play The Odd Couple. Drew was up for the role of uptight, neat freak Felix Unger, a role that fit Drew perfectly. Drew was preparing for the audition and asked Jules to come over to help run lines. Jules saw how anxious and nervous Drew was, and he knew that if he could loosen up a little, Drew would do great. So Jules took it upon himself to help Drew by going to the kitchen and baking cookies. Only these weren't ordinary cookies. Unknown to Drew, Jules had laced them with spice, aka K2, a synthetic cannabis. Jules then got a call from another client and had to leave. He assured Drew he would be back. Big mistake. While he was gone, Drew started feeling the effects and began freaking out. He called Wesley at work and told him that something was wrong. Wesley came straight home and found Drew a mess. Wesley was on his way to make some coffee. He put him into bed to help settle Drew down when he heard a commotion in the room. He raced back, only to find that Drew had either jumped or fallen out of their 5th-story window down atop the pool covering below. Drew survived the initial fall and was rushed to the hospital. Jules soon returned to find the apartment had become a crime scene. Learning of what happened, Jules immediately began questioning if the cookies were the cause. Jules had no intention of revealing what he had done until he saw the officers on the scene bag the cookies as evidence. He came clean, but it did Drew no good. The next day, he died from his sustained injuries. Jules was charged with involuntary manslaughter, but because he had no motive to hurt Drew and Spice was not illegal at the time, he was acquitted. I found this story very interesting because I learned a lot about synthetic cannabis. In the last few years, the popularity of K2 really blew up, especially here in New York. Not too long ago, the news was full of stories about streets littered with drugged-out zombies. K2 was a cheap, effective high, so it made sense people were drawn to it. You could throw a rock and hit a user on the street. Fortunately, the city quickly buckled down, and now it is not as prevalent an issue. It was really nice to read this chapter and gain some logistical and historical background about synthetic cannabis. I was surprised to learn that it was originally created with noble intentions. John W. Huffman, an organic chemistry professor, was attempting to create a substitute for THC, the active ingredient in marijuana, that had all the medical benefits but lacked the hallucinogenic properties. He was trying to help medicinal marijuana users, but now his strains are being abused and used recreationally. It just goes to show that people will take anything good and use and manipulate it for their own purposes.